Chief Michael Brunson here, and we are here to announce, as the Milwaukee Police Department, the Milwaukee Project. Now, the slogan for the Milwaukee Project is Reform, Reimagine, Rebuild. And what this project does is fosters community engagement, community collaboration. And the first phase of it is going to be speak outs that the community is going to be involved in. And so what we want to do is solicit community members to be involved in these speak outs. And we do have an email address for citizens that want to speak out, talk about issues as it relates to the police department. Now, you might have a question on where did this idea come from? This idea came from the community. We reached out to a cross sector of individuals from the community, from individuals who are anti-police, pro-police, faith-based groups. So we want everyone to be involved in this that are engaged in this city. And we covet that feedback, we covet that engagement from members of our community. We want to hear what the community has to say about the Milwaukee Police Department. Obviously, what we want to know is what people think, what they feel, what do they want from the police department. So those are some of the questions that will be asked. It'll be facilitated, and people can share their views openly and honestly with us. The ultimate goal is to engage with the community, to get that true feedback from the community, to find out, because right now, obviously, as we know what's going on around this country, law enforcement is looked at in a certain way in some segments. So what we want to do is find out what the broad community's thoughts or feelings are. What do they want? What issues do they have? When we know what the issues are specifically, then we can work on those issues together to better the community, better this city. And so that's what we're committed to doing, because obviously the police department is a reflection of the community that it serves.
Chief, one of the suggestions that your predecessor also dealt with, one of the suggestions and demands, was potential budget cuts to the department. Is that something you're prepared to deal with if this is the kind of feedback you get?
Well, one of the things that I have to focus on are the things that I can control directly, and that is to engage with the community, that is to engage with our department, and to encourage them to do what our goal is, and that's public safety, and that's protecting the citizens of the city every day. And that's what their focus is, that's what my focus is, and so the budget and things of that nature are things that are beyond our control. We will do what we can to work within the budget, but those are the things that I have to focus on.
So when you have a conversation about defunding the police, there's a group that is philosophically aligned with that, and they would like the resources to go into other areas. And I support getting the resources in those other areas. But probably the most effective group in defunding police have been the Republicans in the state legislature, because we simply don't have the money. And now at the national level, if President Trump and the Republicans do not get money to local governments in large cities, you are going to see cuts all over this nation. And so on the one hand, they argue against defunding. On the other hand, they are the ones that are defunding. They are the ones that are defunding police departments throughout this nation and throughout this state. But unfortunately for the advocates who are looking for justice, that money is not going into housing issues. It's not going into employment issues. It's not going into retraining. It simply isn't going to be there. So we're going to have a very difficult budget. We're going to have a very difficult budget, and we would have prior to all of this. But people have to understand that it's the Republican leadership in Madison and President Trump that are taking money out of cities. And so you're going to have people who are mad because you're going to have cuts to police departments throughout this nation, but you aren't necessarily going to have the resources to put them into those critical areas that need them the most.